It is both a privilege and an honour to address you today at the European Congress of Rural Renewal and Development, not only because Czesław Siekierski and his team are doing tremendous work at the presidency of the European Union in the field of agriculture, but as well because I think we are here in the heart of the agriculture sector of Poland as well, and so it's very important for me to come to see the friends, to meet new friends as well, and I see as well Christophe, who is very active in the European Parliament side, so it is important that we come here, and for me we joked, we had a meeting before, we joked a little bit, I'm probably the only commissioner who is not in his own member state on the Europe Day, but for the presidency, for me it was very important to be here with you to exchange, and we did already so with several of the representatives of the agriculture sector. And as we gather here under the auspices of the Polish presidency of the Council of the European Union, we are reminded of our shared commitment to the vibrant future of Europe's rural communities, and the spirit of collaboration that defines this Congress is precisely what we need to forge a path toward prosperous, sustainable and inclusive future for rural areas across our continent. And today on Europe Day we celebrate as well our unity, our shared values and our collective efforts towards building a better future. And I'm sure that this Congress, in this Congress, the important role of rural areas and the crucial role that they play will be underlined. And indeed, rural areas account for 25% of the EU population and cover 75% of our territory. And they are more than just the picturesque landscapes we envision. They are dynamic spaces full of potential, cultural richness and economic promise. And yet, as we are all aware, rural areas face multi-faced challenges as well, and from demographic shifts and global economic pressures to environmental changes and technological advancements. The road ahead is not without its obstacles, and however these challenges present us with a unique opportunity to rethink and reshape our approach. And in February, we have just announced it, I presented a new vision for agriculture and food, which aims to create a prosperous, competitive and sustainable farming sector. And this vision is not merely another Brussels document, but a call to action and a pathway to the future of our sector. And it recognizes the importance of rural areas in our agri-food systems, and their sustainable development is critical for Europe's overall resilience, food security and autonomy. But support for rural areas is also crucial for security reasons, and we mentioned it before and at the discussion we had with the Minister. It is not only food security, food sovereignty, but it can as well, farmers can contribute to guarantee energy security. There's a lot of untapped potential in energy, and as well rural areas. I've recently travelled and I see some of the ministers to Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, but as well to Finland. They have common borders with Russia. What would be in those areas if there wasn't agriculture, if there wasn't forestry and a strong economic sector standing behind this with its infrastructure? I think it would be a huge weakness for the European Union as well on the security point of view if we didn't have these vibrant rural areas with a strong economic activity. And one of the pillars of our vision is making agriculture and rural communities attractive again for future generations. And this requires a holistic approach, coordinating across various policy domains such as agriculture, health, education, digitalization and mobility. And this integration is vital because the challenges and solutions for rural areas are interlinked and demand coordinated implementation of policies at the national level as well. And diversity too is a strength that we need to harness, because rural areas are not homogeneous and they should not be treated as such. They vary widely in terms of geography, culture, traditions and socio-economic conditions. And I think it is very important as well to say that our agriculture and our rural areas vary from one country to another, but even in the same country they can vary quite strongly, and therefore I think it is very important that our policies that we design have as well a territorial approach, and I think therefore it is essential. For example, rural areas close to urban centres, they will face very different challenges than the more remote regions, and this needs to be taken into account. And our vision also stresses the need for resilience, ladies and gentlemen. Geopolitical tensions and extreme weather events, just like the floods that you have lived here in Poland last year, but as well now again quite some droughts, pose significant risks which our farming, fishing and as well food sectors must be prepared to better withstand those challenges. And our policies will continue to support these sectors, promoting safe food production, protecting rural landscapes and traditions, and ensuring that agriculture practices respect the limits of our planet's ecosystems. Moreover, the vision for agriculture and food recognizes the diversity of Europe's farming systems. Tailored approaches, as I mentioned, that consider regional specificities are crucial, allowing us to respond as well to local needs and local conditions more effectively. And we strive for an agri-food system that is not just competitive and sustainable, but also fair and inclusive, ensuring equitable opportunities for all. And the next multi-annual financial framework will emphasize flexibility, agility and focus on strategic priorities. And I will ensure that funding is directed towards achieving substantial outcomes as well. And integral to this transformation is the CAP post-2027. The need to have a common agriculture policy to support our farmers remains, but support should be better balanced regulatory frameworks with more incentives and investments and less top-down approaches. And that said, while some anticipate a revolution, our approach advocates for a considered evolution of our common agriculture policies, because we know that farmers are as well entrepreneurs. They have made investments and need as well as certain stability and predictability for those investments that they have done. And another key aspect of our rural development strategy is the potential, for example, of geographical indications. And these geographical indications, including those registered in Poland, promote the origins, traditions and unique characteristics of products and where they come from. And they foster as well the local pride, enhance product recognition and contribute to rural economies and the identification with these products. And this is why today in the afternoon I'm also visiting one of a family-run GI cheese production facility, and I hope that Poland and other countries in this region will register even more of their very valued products. And our discussion about the future of rural development would be incomplete without addressing the critical issue of generational renewal. Europe faces indeed an aging farming population, with an average age of our farmers above 57 years, and only less than 12% are below the age of 40 years. And it is essential that we encourage again young farmers here in Poland. You are doing better, and we just discussed this earlier on, so we have to learn as well what is Poland doing well, what is Austria doing well and better than others, in order to inspire as well the other regions in the Union. And we have, of course, a lot of barriers. It is difficult for young and new farmers to access land. It is difficult for them to access capital. And there, I think it is a lot that can be done. Some can be done on European level, but when it comes to education, this is, of course, as well a national competence. We need to do everything possible that our young farmers and new farmers are equipped with the best possible tools to take up. And we are, as a European Commission, working already very closely, for example, with the European Investment Bank to support this generational renewal. And a €3 billion facility was launched by the EIB last December, and this includes as well facilitating access to credit and developing adapted insurance schemes to address the rising risks and uncertainties. And my overarching goal is again to empower young farmers and make farming more attractive again. And the simplification package, because you all remember the many protests that we had across Europe last year, a little bit earlier in the year, and I think it is very important to listen what were the requests. One of the main requests, well, there were three main requests: more reciprocity when it comes to production standards. This is very much highlighted in our vision for the future of agriculture and food. Better prices for our products. We are addressing this with a targeted review of the Common Market Organization, but as well of the Unfair Trading Practices Directive. I think, by the way, that were the first two proposals of this new Commission, so we are taking this very seriously. And then, of course, the administrative burden, and that is something where I clearly say our farmers need again to be able to stand more outside on the fields with their animals producing, rather than to be behind computers filling in forms. That is enhancing their productivity, and that is why we will be presenting next week on the 14th of May a simplification package that is focused on the common agriculture policy. That will be very important, and it will be felt. It will touch upon conditionality, so as well what is, for example, when it comes to permanent grassland, when it comes to wetland and peatland, and there will be a substantial flexibilization for our farmers. It still needs to go through the official channels, but I have calculated that this will lower the administrative burden for our farmers by 1.5 million annually, and I think this is substantial. I've travelled meanwhile to 14 different member states, and what I hear from the farmers is, of course, when it comes to administrative burden, it is the common agriculture policy, but there is way more than the common agriculture policy, because our farmers need to deal with sanitary and health requirements. They need to deal with environmental legislation and sometimes even national legislation. So I think it is important that we have a look at everything is in place, everything that is coming down to the farm, and there we need to simplify even further, and that is why we have announced as well a second simplification package by the end of the year that is going into other policy areas, and that is what really is bothering our farmers. And of course, the future rural development and agriculture requires as well an unwavering commitment to dialogue and collaboration. And our ambitions can only become reality if we unite our efforts and building as well bridges between the diverse stakeholders. And I call upon all of you, representatives of the ministries, institutions, NGOs, researchers and rural communities representatives to join us in this endeavour. And together, let us harness the potential of our rural areas, celebrate their contributions and ensure that they flourish as the beating heart of Europe. And thank you for your attention, and thank you for your dedication, and thank you for being part of this vital journey. Dziękuję.
Commissioner, thank you very much.